Welcome to this next installment of Commander Legends Unpacking, where we do things a little bit more quick than usual. I won't do this intro every time, but this will be a long playlist where you can see all the packs from this larger booster box, which I think would be a good way to do this. So, first up, we have Elvish Visionary, like we see. Yeah, we now see it too. Elvish Visionary lets you draw a card when it enters the battlefield. This makes it just a great creature that is a bit small, but always a nice cycler through your deck. So this is already a great staple in Magic, well, and also in Commander. So cool card, great art as well.
Elvish Visionary is a great elf, because when you are playing elves you want to play out your small creatures and not lose too much card advantage. This creature is already card neutral. We see this one Elvish Visionary standing in front as a leader to the elves in the back on Doug Alexander Gregory's art. A great idea because this Visionary is often the first of what's to come. You can imagine that your other elves are the ones you see in the back as your Visionary tells you what elves should originally be about in her flavor. From a tiny sprout, the greatest trees grow and flourish. May the seeds of your mind be equally fruitful. Mind is of course a joke on drawing cards.
Briarblade Adept we have seen before, as the art is really cool in my opinion. We have Captain Skull, a 4-mana sorcery that creates 3 1/1 white creature tokens. Just a great thing to have if you are in for let's say Celestia and you like tokens and you need just a lot of small dudes. Or you're playing Soldier Tribal, which I don't suppose you are. Strategic Planning is a story card, or used to be, from Amonkhet, where Jace and Gideon got together. RIP. And we can see in the flavor Bolas remade this place to his image. He has the advantage here. We must approach carefully. Which is from Jace, of course, not from Gideon. And I think a great piece of showing of the two guys looking at each other. Rummaging Goblin is someone that we can see almost made a mechanic, where rummaging of course means discarding and then drawing a card. And the Goblin is doing the same. To a Goblin, value is based on the 4 S's. Shiny, Stabby, Smelly and Super Smelly. Which is also 5 S's. But of course it's a Goblin, they can't really count, can they? Again with Goblins, Wild Size is a 3-mana card that lets you grow a creature, so sort of wild growth as we know it, and then you draw a card as well. To make it more flexible, I guess. Rupture Spire is a card that enters the battlefield tapped for a land. That is not good. But when it enters the battlefield you may sacrifice it, unless you pay 1, also not good. And then add any mana of 1 color. This makes for a really bad card all around. You lose mana at speed, so you lose a lot of tempo with this. It is all colored, but I think that would not be worth it, in my opinion. Sparktongue Dragon, we have seen this before and I think we might have to go into this a little bit more. From Tarkir, of course, this card, and let's look at the flavor. Fools believe that Callaghan's brood follows lightning storms. The wise know that it is the other way around. So they bring lightning storms. Is there a lot to talk about here? Not sure, so let's do research and then maybe go into this, or maybe not. Fall from Favor is a 3-mana enchantment that enters the battlefield and lets you tap a creature. And then enchanted creature doesn't untap, so it really just freezes it. We have seen a lot of cards like this, and this is good sometimes, but if the creature has more abilities, this becomes less great. Sky Whaler's Shot is a person shooting at a whale, and then 3 mana you can destroy target creature with power 3 or greater, and then scry 1 in an instant. That is pretty good for white, so that is almost unconditional, it feels like. Usually these cards only target creatures with power 4 or greater, and this one scries as well. Molder Beast 5 mana beast. It's a 5/3, so really clunky, but you can probably trade with it. It has trample. Whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So if you can get a lot of artifacts into the graveyard at instant speed for cheap, you can make this attack for a lot of power. Otherwise, a little bit clunky, but if you have this type of strategy, this could be a finisher. So that is great for a common. Charcoal Diamond is a beautiful card from Lindsay, and we see a whole cycle in this Commander Legends set as well. These cost only 2 mana, which is really cheap, as we have seen in Commander Sphere, which is 3 mana and still great. But it enters the battlefield tapped and only taps for one of the 5 colors. So that is a shame, but it is still strong and it ramps you really fast. It's just probably as fast as Commander Sphere, only it costs less mana, so you play it on a different turn. So, well, you just have to look at your strategy and how many colors you have, and then maybe this is really good, and maybe this is pretty good still. Crow of Dark Tidings is a 3 mana zombie crow bird. It's a flying 2/1. When it enters the battlefield or dies, mill 2 cards. So you will mill 4 cards over the time that this creature is around and not around. Well, this can be a good sign. It's just a crow probably, but the fact that there's sort of smoke coming from it is probably less of a good sign. So definitely watch out here. Open the Armory, a 2 mana sorcery where you can search your library for an aura or equipment card, showing us how bad these subtypes are, because this is a tutor, but you have probably not heard about this one too much. Once Avacyn returned, I hoped I'd never need these things again. I didn't think I'd be dusting them off to use against angels. So kind of a flavor thing where the player himself also didn't think they would need these cards. But now they do. Meteoric Mace, maybe a good equipment to look for. It gives +4/+0 and trample, and it has Cascade, so you can look for a card with less mana value, which you probably have, because this is 6 mana, which is almost the top of what you want. So, well, you can't find Meteor Golem. Great that these cards are linking into each other. This has 7 mana, but it is colorless and it comes in as a 3/3 and lets you destroy another target non-land permanent an opponent controls. The impact sent the soldiers scattering them. Something came out of the crater. Oh yeah. So it kills something and then something came out as well. Literally what the card does, so I like that flavor. Laboratory Drudge is a 4 mana zombie horror. Seems to come out of Innistrad, which we have seen a lot of the previous few sets. And what it says is it's a 3/4. Sorry for the glare for a moment. It's a 3/4. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card if you've cast a spell from a graveyard or activated an ability of a card in your graveyard this turn. So you can draw 1 card each end step, but you do need to activate abilities from your graveyard. If you can do that consistently at instant speed, then this is a great card drawer. Many hands make light work, says Ludovic. So he gives them at least 3 hands. Then again, the cocky wizard that everyone hates, Arcanum Weaver, is a legendary from this pack. What he does is you can sacrifice an enchantment. You do need to pay the 3 mana that he costs himself. You can sacrifice an enchantment, return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So sort of cycling through your enchantments, and then they can enter the battlefield, of course. And these effects can be really good for you, or if you have a strong enchantment, you can of course gain more value. So this has 2 uses and it could spiral out of control in some ways. Any apprentice with a spellbook and 2 sticks can churn out a fireball. This is different, this is art. So we can see why people hate him.
Gen is a student that thinks he is already a teacher. Of course, we can see that Gen can make beautiful art in Kieran's Jenner's depiction. We can see him taking ley lines of mana from all of his fellow students, and he is feeling very smug about it. Gen looks at his fellow students and sees imperfections in their techniques. So as his ability suggests, he takes their magic and makes it better by sacrificing their magic to bring back another from the grave. He says that any apprentice could make a fireball, but his magic is apparently beautiful. Even though I can agree that he makes beautiful magic, I would say that he would not have a great effect on the learning paths of his fellow students, just because he does not respect their progress at all. Gen will be a perfect artist, for he will be alone and therefore probably insane, which is a good trait for an artist.
Then we have another one, which is Kanji, Sky Warden. It's the Azorius colored bird wizard and that's a 3/3 for 5 mana. It has flying and vigilance, so it can get in all the time and protect you against flyers. Then whenever it attacks, attacking creatures with flying get +2/+0 until end of turn. And whenever it blocks, creatures with flying get +0/+2 until end of turn. So it's a 3/5 while blocking. It's a 5/3 while attacking, basically. Let their horrors and machines come. We will meet them blow for blow. So yeah, apparently Kanji wants to protect you from machines, and it wants to do that with his army of birds. And he is a bird himself, and he has flying, of course, so he works with himself.
As we can see in this flavor, Kanji is protecting against machines. His first card was from Dominaria, so we already know that he was a Dominarian fighting against the Phyrexians. Kanji was a member of the Azorius Colored Order, very appropriate name for the colors. His hawks were just his eyes, other than that he had many other magical powers. Still, his apprentices mostly just made other people fly when Kanji was out of birds. The order played a role in defeating the Phyrexians because they would be spared of huge attacks. The Aven nomads would live in mountains, and apparently the Phyrexians did not like those mountains military-wise. Of course, the order would later continue to kill all other important artifacts of the world, as the Azorius always overreact. There are several philosophies in the order, and we cannot really see what Kanji thinks of those. We just know that he was instrumental in protecting the lands against the Phyrexians, so he should be rather strong. Whether he is uptight or influenced by coin, we cannot say. We only know that he likes birds. So let's say he is obsessed by hawks, even to the point of turning others into them. Yes, that's canon. Then I would say that Kanji would be a steadfast leader against the Phyrexians and the Dominarian cabal alike.
Then we have Lumengrid Gargoyle, 6 mana, 4/4 with flying. That's just what it is. This one is foil, as you can see a little bit here. And it says, anything that watches without sleep and fights without fear is a valuable ally against the Phyrexians. So this was against the Phyrexians. Some artifact creatures were against them as well, before they were perfected, of course. And a spirit token with flying, which is relevant for a token that you want to have a lot of. I want to thank you again for watching, and I hope you have seen something that interests you or a card that interests you. And if you do, please tell me, and maybe we can go into that further in the comments, or maybe I can make a whole video out of a cool aspect of it, which we have done before and was really cool.